As you know, tomorrow on Friday, December 16th, you will be having your embedded assessment over advertising strategies. Mrs. Messer and I wanted to make sure that you are able to see the rubric that we will be using to grade your paragraph so that you know exactly what is needed in the paragraph and exactly what you need to do to get your absolute best grade possible. At this point in the year, you have written a great number of paragraphs in the body paragraph style. You wrote, we learned how to write the body paragraph with Melinda, Marissa, Claire, Travis, Olivia, some of you had. You also wrote 3 body paragraphs in your, and then there were none paper. You wrote a Justice Wargrave and the other 2 were your choice. So you should know, you should be very, very familiar with this format at this time. There should not be any questions about how many sentences there are, what the order is, or what you need to do in those sentences. So hopefully you are well aware of that. Let me show you the new way that we've developed the rubric. The rubric is really nice because you've got all of these sections up here, but in between the sections you can see that there's a little bit of room in between to like be in the middle, for example. So if you, obviously you want to be in the area where the green is, that means that you earned the highest amount of points. But let's say that you are not quite earning the highest amount of points, but also we really shouldn't count you as just developing. We now have a really nice place in the middle here where we can't quite award you all of the points, but we can give you most of them. And that's a nice new addition that we didn't have in the other rubric. So I just wanted to point that out. There is room on this rubric to kind of be so close, but not exactly where you need to be. The same thing in this category over here. You can see that maybe you don't deserve to only get 1 point, but you're not quite meeting all of the requirements to get 3 points, so now we can give you 2 points. This is a nice new feature of the rubric. All right, now let's talk about what you're going to need to do on tomorrow's paragraph and how you'll be graded. The first thing that we're going to be checking for is that you have a very clear topic sentence and that you relate your topic sentence to something from the prompt. So whatever words are being used in the prompt, I should see some of those in your topic sentence. Please, please, please don't forget, this embedded assessment is not a secret. It is not a trick. You are going to see an advertisement under the screen, exactly like you did with the cover girl, exactly like we practiced, and you are going to see the exact same prompt. You're going to have to tell me how this ad is influential and what strategies were used. So it is not a secret. You already know what the prompt is going to be. The only thing you don't know is what ad we're going to use. But I can tell you that we picked an ad with very, very clear strategies. We are not out to trick anyone. So there will be very clear things in the ad for you to choose. While I'm talking about what you should choose for your strategies, tomorrow on the embedded assessment, you will be permitted to take out your writer's notebook and use this page in your writer's notebook. I need you to really understand, however, if you don't have your writer's notebook, if this page has been torn out, you are not getting another copy of this in class. We will not hand you another copy. So I think you need to take a close look, a careful look at what you have in your writer's notebook, and I really think that if you do not have this there, you should probably copy it from a friend and make sure that it gets to class tomorrow, because you are not going to be receiving another copy from us. Back to the rubric. After you write a great topic sentence, we are going to be checking that you have your information in your paragraph in a logical order. So an example of that would be that you have things that make sense chronologically. So for example, you would not use the transition word finally to introduce your first piece of evidence. So things have to be presented in a logical order without extra details that are not necessary. You give us the information that we're looking for, clearly and you don't add extra things. You can see with the other, with the lesser parts of the rubric, how you could lose points. So you could lose points if you include like unrelated and extra things that don't make any sense. You could lose points if you're disorganized, or if your ideas aren't clear, or if you really have problems, major problems with format. Next example is all about using a variety of different pieces of evidence, a variety of different strategies. So one of the things that we talked about in class is that the transfer technique is very, very similar to facial expressions, remember from this page. So we probably don't want to see you using the transfer technique and facial expressions. That is not using a variety of strategies, because those strategies are too similar. So this little part of the rubric is all about that you have given, that you've used many different types of strategies. You haven't repeated yourself and used the same one over and over and over again. The next part of the rubric that I want to talk about extensively is the commentary. This part of the rubric is all about commentary. Mrs. Messer and I feel very strongly that you have had multiple opportunities to practice your commentary. Some of your commentary is still very, very weak. At this point in the school year, though, we need to start really holding you accountable to having good commentary. You are going to lose a significant amount of points if your commentary is not correct tomorrow. On some of the other paragraphs that you've written, we haven't graded your commentary very, very difficultly. So you've been kind of getting away, some of you have been getting away with having weak commentary, and we can't have that anymore. It's almost halfway through the school year, and at this point, you should be able to write very, very strong commentary. The next part of the rubric is all about using transitions. If you can use transitions words, you are going to probably get all of the points in this section. You are using them in the correct order, you're using them each time to introduce a piece of evidence, and you're using some type of this would also address like the commentary starters. You're using, maybe the ones from the blue sheet aren't really working for you, maybe this shows isn't working for you, but you're using something to introduce your commentary. A lot of times we talked with people about saying, maybe for your commentary, this is a good example of using a celebrity testimonial because, so that maybe that can be your starter if this shows or this proves isn't really working for you this time. All right, and finally, the last part of the rubric that you will earn points for is that you have a conclusion sentence. And as you know, in your concluding sentence, you are supposed to use a synonym to restate. So if you used the word influence or influential in your topic sentence, in your concluding sentence, you would be using a synonym. And then if you do that, you can get all your points. Now, an interesting part of the rubric is a piece that Mrs. Messer and I really like, but it is a brand new piece. It's down here at the bottom, and this is not anything that we have ever done before. So I need you to pay very close attention, because these three little things down here, 1, 2, 3, these are 10 points each. This means that it is 30 points total of your grade. If for any reason you lost all 30 of these points, you would start out your paper at 70 out of 100, which is 70%, and a C-. You don't want to lose any of these points. So let me tell you how you can get all 30 of these points. Number one, very easily, you can follow the expected format. At this time in the year, you should know that we use an 8-sentence format. You should know exactly what sentence is which, and it should not be any problem. You are not going to be using format notes on the embedded assessment tomorrow, so I hope that you have it memorized, and I am very confident that so many of you do. I think you're going to do great here. All right, the next thing that we'll be checking for, number 2 here, is that you have used throughout the piece a formal style. So exactly what we're looking for is that you are not using first person. Some of you are completely in love with using first person. You must be in love with yourself, and this is not appropriate in a formal piece that you're turning in for 100 points. You can save that for some other type of writing. You've used a formal style. You haven't used informal language, like I should not see anything like these words. I should not see 'cause for because. That is not formal. I should not see, if for some reason in your paper you want to use the word you, I should not see a you. You are not texting your friends, and above all, you should not be using first person. So make sure that you earn all 10 points by not using first person and using a formal style. I don't know if I mentioned this, but these points are all or nothing. So you either get all 10 points or you get no points. This kind of makes this a scary part of the rubric, a scary new part that you need to make sure that you're really paying attention to. And the last piece of the rubric that some of you will have major problems with. This is huge. You have checked your paper for errors in grammar and spelling, and you have none. This is going to be difficult for some of you. No errors in grammar or spelling. Obviously, I think you know what no errors in spelling means. This also means that you have capitalized every single letter that needs capitalized. You don't have letters that don't need to be capitalized. You have periods at the end of sentences, and that every sentence makes sense. So this is the editing piece that used to be up here in the rubric, but is no longer in the rubric. Again, these are all or no points. If you even have one error, you're losing all 10 points. At this point in the school year, and you are in 7th grade, you should know how to use capital letters, periods, and you should know how to spell most words correctly, or you have the option to use spell check, and spell check is going to help you out so much. Don't be lazy though. Run spell check, read your paper over, and check it, because you are getting either all 10 points or you are getting 0 out of these 10 points. This part of the rubric could be your best friend or your worst enemy, because it's either 30 easy points that you're going to have no problem earning, or it's 30 points for you to lose, and that's scary. So you want to make sure that you truly give your paper the attention it deserves before you turn it in. This is a 100-point grade. It's huge. You know how these affect your overall grade in our class. So please make sure that you're really taking this seriously and turning in your paper only after you have everything checked. Remember, if you want to print out your paper and check it over, maybe use a pen to check through it and find any errors, do that. Make the corrections and print it again. But we really just want to make sure that you earn all 30 of these points. Again, this rubric is not a secret. We're not trying to hide anything from you, and we are definitely not trying to trick any of you. So we want you to be aware of this rubric. We are going to give you a copy of the rubric while you're writing your paper tomorrow, so that the expectations are right in front of you and you can use it like a checklist. You can check off these things as you do them, and then you're going to turn in a great paper that's going to earn you a fantastic grade. If you have any questions at all, if anything in this video was confusing to you, or you're scared about something, or you don't understand something, after you watch this video, please ask Mrs. Messner or Mrs. Butch, and we'll clear that up for you. Good luck tomorrow. I know you're going to do great.